As of the time of this video, Apple threatened to take down Twitter from the Apple App Store. Here's the tweet from Elon Musk stating that. Also, Apple apparently pulled out its ads from Twitter initially until Elon Musk prodded Tim Cook with this tweet. And then later that day, I actually saw an iPhone ad for Cyber Monday, so perhaps they weren't ready to go hardcore on Elon yet. The supposed Apple reasoning for pulling out ads and potential Twitter banning was that somehow Twitter is more full of hate now, and that Apple has an issue with Twitter moderation policies. But wait, what has actually happened to Twitter? Has moderation actually been significantly impacted? I left Twitter 2 years ago. I just came back to Twitter and I've been watching what's going on quietly, and I will tell you what I'm seeing. What would actually happen if Apple actually banned Twitter from the App Store? Should we accept that if it ever happened? Stay right there so we can discuss this very hot topic. Yes, Musk reinstated Trump's account, and many individuals banned both from the left and the right, like Kathy Griffin on the left and the right Babylon Bee satirical group. He decided on the Trump account based on a poll he made, which was apparently seen by over 300 million users. I saw it and I didn't vote, but the majority said to reinstate Trump's account. So he said, this is the voice of the population, and followed the majority. That was democratic. He did another poll about a general amnesty, which was also voted for by a majority. And then Musk instituted the amnesty. His idea was to restrict the questionable posts and not necessarily banning the accounts themselves. The other rule that has been removed are restrictions on non-mainstream pandemic-related posts. Something very heavily enforced here on YouTube. Posts promoting hate and inciting violence are still being suppressed as far as I know, and apparently additional controls have been put in for child-related content. I've seen some Twitter posts making positive comments on that front. By the way, I'm even so careful about what I say here on YouTube because, of course, YouTube will censor actively. I've had videos demonetized before. So if I'm being cryptic, please read between the lines, okay? From my observation of Twitter, the main change by Musk has been removal of censorship. In other words, Musk just removed the censorship of ideas that 50% of the population agree with. I can still see people arguing their points on the left and the right, probably even more than ever. Extremist posts can still lose visibility, and one of the newest features is that people can leave community notes to basically have the community put context to posts that may appear misleading. It was even done to Musk himself, as seen here. Now, because of politics, people have reacted. So many have posted that they will be leaving Twitter, but don't actually leave. And here's an example of a last tweet, supposedly from Jim Carrey with 16 million followers. Here's another one by Elisa Milano that was totally hosed by the crowd. By the way, even the White House announced that they're going to keep an eye on Twitter. What the zuck? I remember making many videos here on YouTube last year talking about the censorship on many platforms, particularly YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. After my anti-censorship rants, some of you, and I'm sure if you're one of these people, you'd be unsubscribed by now, actually lectured me that Twitter, YouTube, Facebook are private companies. They are not subject to the rules of the Constitution related to free speech, I was told. Amazingly, now that Elon has shifted the grip of big tech over the necks of the common people, suddenly Twitter, and specifically Elon, is the new target. Suddenly, a private company is questioned about their right to allow free speech on its platform. I will say again, what the zuck? I'm sure a bunch of you will unsubscribe now too, because apparently censorship is okay for you, as long as the ideas being censored are not in line with your ideas. If you're for some authoritarian control, then we're not going to get along, so move along. That's not compatible with privacy. You see, I never think about obstructing any point of view. If you go to my Twitter account, I follow people from the left and the right, and my followers are also spread out in beliefs. People interested in privacy might think in any political side, but the side I consistently state is the side to be free from control, free from big tech control, free from authoritarian control. Power to the people. Right now, we are on the verge of either getting a shift so that the censorship spree is going to be slowed down, or Apple will slam the hammer down and ban Twitter. And if Apple does that, Google will be sure to follow too. Now, there's the real problem, folks. The real problem that I've been focused on this channel. We have allowed a dangerous duopoly to exist. Many of you look at Apple as the benign company because they lied to you about being privacy focused. And here we have the potential exhibition of mammoth control, possibly block a platform with 500 million users. Or alternatively, bring it down financially by telling advertisers to stay away. And the average consumer thinks, oh well, this doesn't concern me, I'll just go about my business as usual. And oh, my new iPhone arrives next week. My own brother actually said this. The shallow thinking of the average person really bothers me here. When you allow a few powerful entities to restrict the flow of information, what do you think happens? In case you were in a cave this last month, the US midterm elections just concluded. And as usual, the country is still in its 50-50 split with extremely polarized sides. The polarization of sides is of course amplified in social media, but the election of government officials is often made with razor-thin margins, many within 1%. If you can convince 1% of the population to go one way or another just based on filtering content, what do you think will happen? Well, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that those who are gatekeepers of information could alter the politics. Because the vast majority of people do not care, these same people have authorized a company like Apple to make the decision for them. And the ultimate decision will be that the platforms to be supported by Google and Apple on mobile have to be echo chambers of one political side. And those on the other side, they are banned from mobile apps and banned even from the payment system. They have to run their own platforms over browsers and basically be excluded from being seen by the folks that can actually be manipulated. And those are the people in the middle. No one cares that those on the conservative side have to go to Rumble, Gab, Odysee, and other platforms. As long as the moderates remain on the regular platforms, they will be worked on slowly. They will be fed the information that will be pounded in their heads over and over so that at least 1% of them will vote the desired way. I'm sure this is already happening. This is more alarming than what I'm saying here because I've already explained how the Google search engine is manipulated, among other things, and how Google has mapped the entire population along the lines of their opinions, all the way to an exact location. And this really bothers me because these big tech platforms have eliminated the chance of normal, balanced debate of ideas that have existed in the past. They know who thinks against them, and these people will be targeted. Now, each side has its own echo chamber. And this, in my opinion, actually makes people more extreme on both sides because they never hear alternatives. Just look at the reaction of people on Twitter of people who claim that because of all the hate, they want to leave, not even realizing that they themselves are the spewers of hate. I guess it's not hate if it's attacking the other side. I can see this because I can see two sides of the coin on my Twitter feed. This is utter craziness. Someone actually left me a comment on my video saying this. Speaking of Twitter, it's interesting how quiet the low-info conservatives have become criticizing Twitter now that Elon owns the biggest news source on the planet. Elon owns your info now, people, just like Zuck does. But thanks to political propaganda, no one is allowed to criticize Twitter anymore. Anyone who calls out Elon with his man-child Twitter tantrum is now canceled, censored, and banned by the blue pill ODing alt-right. Say what? Sadly, comments are said without any balance. Many of you are tied to a political side and cannot think independently. That is not what I see as a more balanced viewer. As far as I can see, the comments about Musk on practically most of mainstream media has been very, very negative. LA Times, Washington Post, CNN, on and on. I've seen them. You don't have to be fond of Elon to see this, but in reality, I haven't seen anything that's actually negative on Twitter today. I left Twitter a couple of years ago, as I said earlier. I was just flabbergasted at the sheer amount of censorship. And I watched the Joe Rogan interview of Jack Dorsey and Vijaya Gadde, the principal censor queen of Twitter, before Musk showed up. She made a claim on the Joe Rogan interview how sunlight bleaches everything so the truth comes out, so censorship is not good. What a sucking liar. Right after that, her censorship became so extreme. The truth is that Vijaya Gadde has a political agenda. They all do. It's no different here on YouTube. You make any comment questioning anything vax related, for example, in any way, and you get banned. But on Twitter, it was extremely blatant and rampant. Vax discussion, for example, unlike what some people think, are not a left or right issue. Plenty of people on the left have vax doubts and questions, but no one is allowed to air them. Today, the Chinese CCP just bring out their version of the SS out on citizens on the streets complaining about the restrictions on their lives in China. Can't question the government. Government never makes a mistake. The government never lies. Wow. Those who think this need to really start reading some history books. Knowing that in our history, even in the USA, that governments have lied to push a certain narrative, why would you want to stop debate? Don't you want to find out the truth? The US government did not want the voices of Snowden and Assange to be heard, even though they revealed rampant abuse of citizens' data. That truth helped me a lot in my privacy teachings. Remember the Iraq weapons of mass destruction? The Bush justification for the Iraq War. WMD didn't exist. Then, no one could question anything because the justification was provided as knowledge only known to the CIA and NSA. So there was no possibility of any counter-argument. It's top secret. The lack of debate is not good. Blocking information that 50% of the population agrees with is dishonest and manipulative. I can't imagine any positive purpose of this other than pure politics and a craving for power. Folks, if Apple chooses to slam the hammer down on Twitter, it should be a signal. It should be the time to actually rebel and dump Apple products. I've already dumped Apple. I've even put old iPhones in Faraday bags because they have turned into mass surveillance machines. They track me all day beyond any other device I own. That is the subject of another video. But Apple attempting to shut down ideas in this way by banning Twitter, which is just allowing both sides to speak, is totally unacceptable to me. If they do this, you need to respond, my friends. You need to rethink your obsession with Apple products. The control of Apple and Google goes beyond the app stores. Apple and Google, by the way, now control the DNS that's flowing to the mobile device. This means they have the power to block a domain completely. Apple can do this via their iCloud private relay. Google can do it via their private DNS option and their URL filtering service called SafetyNet, which is built into Google Android. So if they wanted to, they could block the domain twitter.com, even from DNS, which would basically disable access to it even on a browser. Again, we have allowed big tech this power. I've warned you of these capabilities in so many past videos. Maybe it's time for a fresh look at your phone experience. And no, there is no Tesla phone at the moment. Not really the point of this video, but hey, consider the Brax 2, the Google phone. Open source OS, completely free from anyone's control. No one can stop you from installing any app and a fraction of the price of an iPhone. If you can download the app APK file even from the platform directly without a store, you can run it. absolutely no way to be censored. If Apple or Google choose to make these moves, the effect will be immediate and destructive to free speech. And then you will truly learn that you have now been deceived. I hope that it doesn't come to that. Twitter and Apple are basically playing chicken. Musk is rich enough that he could fund another phone model, so the long-term outcome is not a foregone conclusion. Some hardcore people on the left are pushing the investment firm BlackRock, which owns a huge chunk of Apple stock, to block Twitter. So now the true influence comes from big money. Money that has no nationalistic side. Money is power by itself. Will Tim Cook crumble and succumb? Folks, if this happens, I guarantee some sort of big tech revolution will occur and Apple will lose significantly. Why do these big tech platforms continuously pound on 50% of the population? I don't get why this is a good strategy. I'm going to tell you a reality. This past year, I lost so many subscribers. I didn't know what was happening and I actually was re-examining my content because I didn't know how to respond. And then I was asked by Rumble to join Rumble, and there I found that many people left YouTube. A very large number of people left. Many of them are on Rumble. I'm going to guess that as many as 100,000 of my subscribers actually stopped using YouTube. I already have 16,000 followers on Rumble and I just started. I have 80,000 followers on Odysee. And this was because people were disgusted with the censorship. So it cost YouTube, I'm sure. Right after that, YouTube sent out survey after survey to creators, asking how we felt about the platform. And I responded that I mostly feel that there was not a partnership with YouTube, that sometime soon YouTube could just deplatform me or censor me. My guess is that the survey was triggered by a drop in active users. Not sure what came out of those surveys, but YouTube is on notice, I'm sure. The point is that people can respond with choices. DuckDuckGo was found to be promoting censorship. Suddenly, they discover their business dropped significantly. Not a good move to mix politics with business. Same with Firefox. Send Apple some warning shots on social media. Tell them the consequence to them of doing something as blatantly anti-free speech as blocking Twitter from the App Store. Do the same with any mainstream media site. Let's stop this polarizing of the population. Let ideas be exchanged. Let's have reasonable debates and unfettered elections. Do not let their money control you and I. Let our money control them. Tim Cook, if you make this move, I will make it my mission to be the anti-Apple voice on social media. Enough is enough, my friends. Let's draw the line in the sand. Hey folks, I offer solutions to take away the power of big tech. The Brax 2 privacy phone is completely big tech free, open source, no tracking by anyone, and definitely no censorship. Yet it is completely functional for most things we need to do on a phone. Instead of having big tech control your internet traffic, we have a VPN solution, Bytes VPN, DNS free from tracking, and a Tor option. We also have Brax Mail. Why have Google actively read your mail? There is a choice. These products support this channel and are available on my uncensored app, Brax.me. The link is in the description. Thank you for watching and support the fight.